Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night show and share at Knox Makers. We appreciate everybody being here. This is the night where we like to show what we're working on, what we've completed, things that maybe didn't go exactly right because we can learn from our failures, and we've seen it all up here. Fortunately, we put the fire out, but we enjoy seeing all kinds of stuff. Tonight we have some really good stuff, looks like. Wilson is going to show, Sono Sculpture Armillary. I don't know these big words. So, Wilson, it's all yours.
Hey, how you guys doing? So, recently, me and my friend Christian Lang at Christian Lang Photography started a nonprofit for homeowners in South Knoxville to commission sculptures from local artists. This way, you know, what happens a lot in our town is that public art, is decided upon by a committee, and they use a lot of out-of-town artists. So we just figured we would put, the power in the homeowners of the town's hands. And we're trying to raise money so that we can subsidize the commission of these sculptures, and we have a review board. So you present your commission, the sculptor and the homeowner, to the review board, and then if we approve you, then we'll cut you a check to get started on your sculpture, but it has to be presented on the frontage of your home, which we'll then build a directory for, and hopefully at one point, build some kind of festival, build a festival around it, or what have you. But this is our, this is the if you go to our website, this is what you'll see. And then I'm building the first sculpture for it, and I'm building an armillary sphere, which is basically like a representation of orbits and celestial bodies. And so I've been working on just doing it completely hand forged. So if you see here, that's how this thing right here is connected. I don't know if you guys can kind of see this.
Yeah, we got that hanging thing,
That's kind of a stand. It's half-inch thick plate. So I had it laser or plasma cut out of half-inch thick plate. But then usually armillaries, they have, let's see if I can find this. They have multiple orbits. I don't know where that just went. You have to give me a second. So this is usually what they look like right here. And so to make the rest of the orbits, I decided that I would make a big jig on my table. So I have a 4x8 welding table, and I had a friend of mine roll some 2-inch wide 16 gauge flat bar into two different circumferences, which are, one is 3/4 inches. I think it's the smaller circle is, let's see, it's at 25. No, it's a 30-inch circumference, so I chose 25 inches and 3/4 to start my jig at. And then I forged some bars, which will be then wrapped around that jig. And because the circles are bisected by the half-inch plate, I had to make half circles. And then there's 3 different orbits. So I calculated how much I needed for a half circle, and I haven't bent the half circles yet, but these are the bars. Here, you guys want to pass these around? You guys can see these. I broke the square and turned it. So you can kind of see right here how this square is forged using the opposite direction. And so this will be the ridge of the circumference, and there'll be these details you can kind of see forged in there. But there are 12 of those, one in half-inch and one in 5/8 inch for the different sizes. And let me see. Where is it? So you'll see that's the connection point. And the way that I broke the square on those is this jig here that I put onto my anvil. This is called the kiss block. So this limits the hammer's blow to a 1/2 inch, and then you place what's called a flatter over it once you get it close to the dimension. And so it catches both these two sides here, and it creates a flat surface or whatever. You can see these are the indentions that I'm putting in to the piece to add some detail. And I kind of intentionally, I left the center punches to where you can see them as like evidence of the work in the piece. And this is kind of where the squares, so you see this detail here, that's where the square is broken. And I guess that's called changing the bias of the bar. But yeah, this will be unveiled on June 5th. We'll have it installed. And there's going to be a little party over at Christian Lang's house. So if you get onto our website, you can probably see the invitation for that as well. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Thanks, guys. You guys have any questions?
What's going to hold it up? It looks like a lot of weight.
I was thinking about pouring a concrete block and then taking some more plasma cut 1/2 inch plate and having it come out of the concrete, and then using maybe some spacers and then riveting some very long sections of bar through that. But it's meant to sit on a tree stump. So I could just like make some feet that are spikes, and then you just torch the spikes and then just hammer it into some holes that you drill. So that's another option.
Thanks, Wilson. Fascinating. I'm curious to see what that would look like when you get it lit up. Next, we have Mark Best, who has something. Where's Mark? There he is. Something that is not a lamp.
Okay, I made this a few years ago before I joined Makers, and I had to turn around and take it down and clean it up since it had fallen into disrepair. I have a CNC plasma table. It's been dead. Come on. That should light up. Huh? Well, okay, I'll do good and get in front of the microphone. Okay, there's a solar panel on the back, and supposedly when I threw that cardboard over it, it should have said, hey, it's dark outside, and it should have turned these LEDs on. See if, anyway. Okay, all right, so the plan was, this has been sitting out in my yard for quite some time, like I say, 6 years. And I have a plasma table, so I cut the numbers of my house, 7509 in it. That was the second attempt. The first attempt, if you can look under this, you'll see 7509, and that was not so good. But with me, I don't like to throw anything away, so it became a base. Also, I'm a really crappy welder, as you can tell from the way these posts attach to the plate. They're there, they're not falling off, but they look like bad. PG-13. So the idea is the location of this thing is by the road, facing south, so I get solar power out of it. But the one I had up there for 6 years or so had just given out. I guess this Chinese stuff is just not made to last a lifetime. We should talk to them about this, but the lights and the solar panel and its battery were $16. So okay, that's $3 a year. So I can afford that, as long as Social Security doesn't get cut. Anyway, that's all I have to say. This is, like I say, was done on my plasma table and a little welding here and there. Any questions? No? Yes, yes. Madam? Huh? No, no.
You didn't say the street. What is your street?
Well, these are fun. It's like I had to have some numbers out there. The police, or actually 2 bounty hunters, came looking at my house because the prior owner has some issues. So I thought I'd put up some numbers and things. Somebody back here asked, yes, sir.
So the kit was all of the LEDs, the solar panel, the battery was one thing?
17 bucks, 16 and some change. Yeah, there's a solar panel back here, about the size of an index card for old folks who know what index cards are. Has the batteries, it has the switches. I can make it dance. Let's see, is it flickering? Okay, so it'll do all sorts of things. It's designed to lay on beside a walkway, but I just did a serpentine loop on the back. And so there's steel or aluminum plate here, aluminum plate here, and I have some fuzzy stuff in between so I can soften the light. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So does the battery carry that all night, or does it like give out about 1 or 2 a.m.?
We'll find out. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I don't know. It says run for 4 or 8 hours. And having said that, I don't intend to be out there at 4 in the morning to find out. But, you know, I think, quote, civilized people will be in bed by the time this thing dies. Sir, in the back.
Weatherproofing. Any kind of weatherproofing you have to do for it?
The solar panel and the lights are supposedly IP66 good. IP, is it IP? Okay, there's a rating that says how waterproof something is like IP11 would be paper. Paper. IP1 would be paper, so it'd be useless. IP66 is like 20 meters or something. So as long as it'll handle rain, I'm good. Any other questions?
Yeah, what did you use to make it, what's the word, less translucent?
Oh,
Gossamer?
between the front panel and the back panel, okay, I have the lights attached to the back panel. There's actually some fuzzy plastic you can buy at Home Depot, and you can use it to put over your lamps or your windows, so you don't have to put up curtains, but it will diffuse the light that comes in. You can't see through anymore. So I used that, and that stuff was like 24 bucks for a roll that was 4 feet by 24 feet. So it's, you know, I could, if my torch worked right now, but it doesn't. Well, like I say, this was covered with moss and such, and I just needed to do a lot of work on it to bring it back to my standards. But yeah, it was sort of a fun little project just to clean it up. Anything else? Going once, going twice?
Thank you, Mark. You said it wasn't a lamp, but I would beg to argue, you don't have to read from a lamp. If it lights up, it's a lamp. Next, we have Matt, who has a drawing. A drawing.
Is that oriented correctly? Is that oriented correctly? Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. All right. Let's zoom in a little. All right. Let's see. So earlier this year, I was in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles after it burned down, and I'd been interested in working with ash as a building material or as a sculptural material for about a year. And so standing there, it's like, oh, now there's meaning behind the material. So I knew that I wanted to do something text-based, so I started with some development in the sketchbook and landed on the word Palisades. It just means a wall, which is sort of the opposite of a bunch of stuff that got burned down. So I developed that a little bit and started to apply it on a gesso panel. I wanted to do a relief of the letters against ash. So I wrote the word Palisades, masked it, cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and used a bunch of layers of spray adhesive and matte clear with ash sifted on top of it. Got a decent result, but I didn't like the text. So I went back to the Mr. Bungle album. California has the most California-looking text, that Art Deco California. It's perfect. So I used that and developed it into the text that's there. I wanted it to look like Los Angeles, and I wanted it to be unsullied by the ash. So I masked it. It's on a gessoed panel again. Applied a little bit of blue to the background, and I sifted ash onto it. There's some process stuff, and it was kind of fun because you'd sift a layer of ash, and then I'd like blow on it just sort of and get it to lay the way that I wanted. Didn't like the orientation after it was done. It was too rectangular, so I cut it. And there's a little detail of it doesn't look great on there, but you can come up and look at it afterwards. And there's even a little fingerprint, which you can kind of make out. So there's, signature. Anyway. So yeah, and the technical stuff, it's a color pencil, ink pen, and ash on a 1/4-inch piece of plywood. That's it. Any questions? No, when I was interested in about a year ago, I started saving it for my fireplace. I did bring stuff home I did bring some debris, but there's, it'll take me years at the rate I go to get that. Probably about all in. I mean, it's hard because it's in a sequence of I would count the sketchbook development as part of this. And this is, I look at this as like a study for something else. Probably about, 15, 20 hours in this, maybe less, but somewhere in there. All right, thanks.
That is super cool, Matt. Thank you. Okay, last but not least, we have Sean, who has some stuff from scrap.
All right. So like everything I have here is from scrap. Actually, I think almost from scrap from here or from a maker's place, right down to the bag that I carried in here. But I've been doing a lot of stuff in the lathe, and I noticed that we've got like a whole scrap pile out there in the woodworking area. So I started making hairpins, and I can zoom out here. So I started making a whole bunch of hairpins at home and stuff, and just to kind of practice with different pieces of scrap from here. And it's funny because over time I got better, and some of these you can really see how bad they are because they flew off the lathe, and at least 2 of these caused me to replace face masks. So once it flies off the lathe, it doesn't go back on the lathe, and it doesn't get very sanded. So I can pass those around, and you can really tell the difference. And then today at lunch, since I was planning to do this anyways, I had 2 other pieces of scrap I pulled home from here. One, I turned into a bowl like that, and it's actually cool. I think somebody just cut off the end of their cutting board or something. And I did it just to see if I could do it more than anything else. You can totally see a few things on this, like where here, this is literally where the wood beside it has just moved onto that, because you probably shouldn't do that. I did wear a mask while doing this because I don't even know what these pieces of wood are, and they can be toxic. And then this was a little piece of sycamore that was in there. And then same thing, just to kind of put it in perspective, I learned how to do this stuff here in January. So like 4 months, right? So really enjoying it, and just wanted to kind of advertise that, hey guys, there's scrap over there if you want to do woodworking. So, any questions? Cool. Oh, yeah. Oh wait, it's PG-13. No, these are actually for my wife and so on. I don't actually get to wear them anymore. We have the same haircut, you and I, so it's a good question though. Yes, murder as well.
Oh, me, that's terrific. All right, thank you all for these terrific shows and shares. There are some events coming up. One thing that is very important, especially if you are considering, I've lost it, but it's this Thursday. Yeah, here it is. Thursday, the 29th, new member onboarding. If you're interested in becoming a member, this is a requirement for membership. This happens about every couple of weeks. You don't have to apply for membership to attend this. If you want to come and learn more about us, you are welcome to do that. We invite you to come learn more about Knox Makers and our community. In addition to new members onboarding, we have the smocking class coming up May 31st. Smocking is sewing, gathering things, so it's kind of stretchy. Ask Thea what smocking is, because she's teaching it. Foundry 101, Introduction to Metal Casting. There's one ticket left for that. That's on June 5th. Blacksmithing Whack and Yak is on June 7th. You don't have to be authorized in blacksmithing. Just come hang out with the blacksmithery top people. Be a fun time. Don't forget our monthly cookout that happens every third Tuesday. Come and get a free burger or hot dog or whatever you would like.
Actually, that's third Tuesday
Of every month.
Every third Thursday.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Third Tuesday of every month. Yeah, I'll get it right in a minute. Thank you, Steve. That's events, new members onboarding. Butch isn't here tonight. I need to get a volunteer to change filters. Butch is our filter man. Anybody want to change filters? Dave, thank you so much for being our filter changer. Welcome to everybody who is a first-time visitor, and we always have to say hello to Dodie. Hi, Dodie. Everybody say hi, Dodie. Hi, Dodie. Very good. Nice job. Also, somebody maybe borrowed an angle grinder from welding. If you use that, we need to get that returned. We would appreciate that. I think that's all we have for announcements and show and share. Thank everybody for being here. If you need a tour, if you haven't been on a tour of the shop, see somebody with a badge, a red badge or any badge, and we can show you around. Or Jerry, he doesn't have a badge, but he has a hat. Thank you for coming. Let's go into the shop and make stuff and talk and have a good time. Thank you.